You are clear to enter. Welcome to Pizza Planet.
Welcome to Pizza Planet,
a Pixar podcast.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Gareth.
And we're your delivery guys.
Bringing you a square box of round, hot, cheesy Pixar goodness.
We've got a bounty of slices in today's feast, so let's dig in.
Welcome back to Pizza Planet.
Welcome.
It's, and this is, I forgot to mention, our Halloween episode.
Ooh, spooky. And we have a special guest with us.
Hello, it's me, Jonason.
Welcome back, Jonason.
Returning guest. I guess I didn't mess it up too bad last time, so thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome back. Round of applause for Jonason.
Oh, thanks.
Good friend of ours, and which we can say, which is crazy that we say that we can actually say that the creator of the live action Toy Story is our friend. That's amazing, blessing.
Yeah, thank you.
So thanks for coming back, man.
Absolutely, thank you.
I can say you're my only friend that has ever been to Pixar Studios physically. But yes, today is, of course, our Halloween episode. We are going to be talking about a Halloween-themed Pixar thing. See, I don't know what to call it. Is it a short or is it a special?
It's the TV special, yes?
Yes. So for those who aren't in the know, there is a Halloween Toy Story special called Toy Story of Terror, which we will be talking about today. And before we get started, Jonason, have you seen Toy Story of Terror before you watched it, I assume this week?
Presumably, yeah. No, I did, yes. I saw it. I own the Blu-ray of it. It's only a 22-minute film.
Yeah.
But it's I think I watched it the first time it aired on ABC or the Disney-owned channel.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was this one or I know that I watched the Christmas special Toy Story That Time Forgot.
I forgot that one was Christmas
house.
themed.
Oh, it was Toy Story that Gareth forgot was Christmas themed. But it's that one also is short, and I think I watched both of them at a friend's house because at the time I didn't have a TV with channels, so I'm pretty sure I watched both of them that way.
Oh wow! So these were actually TV specials.
Oh yeah, I did not watch them back in the day. I caught them. Like, this is embarrassing to say. I didn't catch them until probably like 4 years ago, like when they were on Disney Plus. I did a just like a binge of every Toy Story short and special, like just a marathon. And I feel like that was a fun way to do it. But I also felt like I missed out because, I mean, we're going to be talking about it, but the fact that this actually aired on TV once upon a time, I was not there for that, unfortunately.
Do you have random facts about it on hand? Because I don't remember the year exactly. I want to say 2015. That'd be my very best guess.
That is a great question. I'm honestly going to have to Google it.
Okay. I thought all these random facts were just laying there in our notes. I watched it.
I'll check. Hold on.
Okay. Ben's walking away, for
he
those of you who are
wandered off.
only listening.
Oh, I bet he forgot his notes. I think he's going to get
I thought he was going to go grab the Blu-ray. See, I was right.
Oh, okay.
Those are the notes. It's the back of the Blu-ray box.
2014.
2014.
Well, that's when the Blu-ray came out, but the movie came out on October 16th, 2013, according to Google.
Oh,
Nice.
really? Wow.
Yeah, so this is actually not right after, but this is not long after Toy Story 3. So
Yeah.
it explains why it feels very much in flavor with,
Toy
right
Story
after
3.
that movie came out.
It was even less not long after. That's words. Live-action Toy Story was January of 2013
Oh.
when it got released. So they were just riding the wave of that, I think, is what they're trying to do that.
Wow. Okay. So you have, I guess, a relationship with this movie that's somewhat, is the word symbiotic, because its success may or may not have, prompted the popularity of certain keywords in the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, definitely. ABC was like, we need that SEO, and so they're like, fast track that one.
Yeah. But
awesome.
Ben, had you seen Toy Story of Terror before this week?
Yes, I believe I watched it with you, I think.
Yeah, you were, honestly, I didn't mention it. You were probably with me when I did that marathon.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe we did some sort of marathon, because I remember watching a bunch of the shorts, and I remember Toy Story of Terror to both of us. I remember us like talking about it afterwards and being like, that was really good. Like, it stood out among the rest, and that stuck with me. So when I rewatched it today, it was exciting to kind of go back to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we're revisiting today. So we're gonna talk about it. So first of all, what this story in this one is about, for those who don't know, let's give kind of some context for what we're talking about. Because I know that when I first heard about this, I honestly was like, Toy Story Halloween special, that doesn't really add up. Like, I didn't think it was going to go that hard. But it is a story about Bonnie and her mom are traveling, and they stay at a creepy motel, and then Mr. Potato Head disappears, and people go looking for him, and Jessie ends up on her own and has to face some rather harsh fears. I hesitate to use the word PTSD loosely, but I feel like this movie does touch on some pretty heavy themes, but we'll get into it. The story follows Jessie, and I do want to say at the top, I give this movie props for putting Jessie front and center, because I feel like she doesn't get as much to do post Toy Story 2 in a lot of the movies, and letting her be kind of the main protagonist in this film felt like very gratifying, I think. But yeah, so the movie, I know that it opens very with the cliche of like they're watching a horror movie. How can you guys remind me? They're in a trunk, right, at the beginning of the movie. How are they watching a vampire movie?
There's a small screen. There's lots of small screens that fit in trunks in 2013.
Like, how is it like I guess it could be like an iPad or something that doesn't necessarily need a power source to play.
That's a great question, though. I didn't look very closely to find out.
Yeah, it looked that stuck out to me when I was watching it, and it looks like it was a portable DVD player that like pops open like that, and with a little screen.
Yeah, we had one of those. It's a tiny little DVD player. The screen is the size of a DVD.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that would make a lot of sense for them being toy size. So yeah, but
yeah, I really did like that opening of having it be that play on an old horror movie, like an old monster movie, where it's like, this isn't very scary because you can see the bats on a string kind of thing. Like, they made it look like the effects were bad on purpose, obviously, like or not bad but old, like the old timey monster movies with that kind of monsters.
I always think it's fun to see, like, Pixar's animation is so good now. I mean, like, back in 2013 when this was made, their animation is so good that they can recreate hokey filmmaking because they're able to make their animation by contrast look really good. So it's like, you can tell those are actors in makeup that would be very hard to do if you were doing it, back in the 1990s or something,
Yeah.
But yeah, so early on in the film, kind of talking more about the narrative, we get into Jessie's claustrophobia. And so this is a great setup, a Chekhov's gun of sorts. I don't know. What would you call this in storytelling, Ben? when you kind of introduce like, okay, here's what the story's gonna be about. Like we establish that Jessie has like panicked claustrophobia.
There's some like, it's cool because the film is playing, and then whenever there's like a jump scare, there's actually a bump in the car, like the car like hits something, and then we see that there's a flat tire, so that's what kind of cues the story from that sense, as they make their way to the motel. But what happens is from the bump, it causes Jessie to like fly into this like some sort of like a metal.
She's got a toolbox in the back. Toolbox, yeah.
Yeah, toolbox. Which we're familiar with toolboxes and toys and the Pizza Planet truck in the previous in Toy Story 1. Jessie gets stuck inside, and this is where we begin to see her fear of being stuck in a box, and so she starts freaking out. And I honestly forgot. Like, was that a big thread in a previous Toy Story movie about her and claustrophobia? Okay.
So Toy Story 2, that was something that I wanted to bring up at some point. Is it like they didn't invent this for the movie. They went and learned, they knew Jessie's character and that was something that she was afraid of and just amplified it and just brought it forward. They didn't do anything with it in Toy Story 3, but in 2, that was her thing. She's been packed away in a box for many, many years, and Woody's there, and they're going to go to the museum now, so it's better. And now if he leaves, she has to go back in a box, and she doesn't want to be trapped in a box kind of thing. So just the fact that they're, 50s toys, right? So that what would their life be like? It'd probably spend many years in a box. And so that's her biggest fear, is to be boxed up again. So that was really cool. I think that they made her the main character of the short, but 2, that they didn't invent some new scary thing that she's afraid of or something like that.
Yeah, and to the writer's credit, maybe that's how they ended up like landing with her as the protagonist, because they were like, well, like if this is the story we want to tell, like a story that deals with the concept of fear, because we're doing a Halloween special. Like who's the best character to tell that story with? And it's like, oh, Jessie has these very like, strong fears informed by her past that the audience is familiar with. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I would love to be able to sit in on those rooms as they're developing the concept from the very beginning, to be like, because you said you watched the other Toy Story shorts. There's one that revolves mostly around Buzz. There's one that's mostly with Rex, and it's just really cool that they get a little bit more screen time, even if it is just a couple minutes. But like Jessie, like I feel like is one of the leads in 2, and that's a lot of people's favorite. So it's like it's great that she gets more screen time, and gets to be the lead. I think that's super awesome.
Well, we've talked a little bit about Jessie's character, so I do want to talk about my favorite character in this short, because the next thing that happens in the movie, I don't remember the exact moment, but there's we establish that there's one specific character in this movie who has seen a lot of horror films, and he knows all the horror film cliches, and he calls them out before they happen. And I'm referring to, of course, is it Mr. Pricklepants? What is his name?
Yes, that's his name.
Is it Mr. Pricklepants, or is it just Pricklepants?
They call it both things. It's Mr. Pricklepants.
Okay. So yes, his commentary cracked me up. That was my favorite part.
I think he's the only one of like Bonnie's original gang that's there. Yes,
Trixie's
oh,
also
Trixie's there. I try to forget about her.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think she had that many lines.
She barely had
that.
Yeah, she was kind of.
But she was definitely there. I remember her being there.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. I think I just like blinked for that one scene. She like steps in the spit.
Yeah, I can't think of anything specifically she did, but yes, Mr. Pricklepants is my guy during this whole thing. The next thing that happens, Mr. Potato Head leaves, and just the unsurprised reactions from all these horror film cliches that Pricklepants gives are just like priceless. Like, he doesn't seem phased as people start getting picked off. He's just kind of like, yes, this is what happens. We're in a horror film. Get over it, you know? And I suppose that was not only a good choice comedy-wise, but also a good choice because this is a kid's film ultimately. And I'm not going to lie, it does go a little hard at points. So, you know, having him there is kind of a buffer to kind of let people know, hey, this isn't super serious, you know?
Right. It gives some comedy, some comedic relief to something that might otherwise be scary, but because he says this line, it's not now. The other thing is funny to me about this is the short, I guess, is it's a Halloween special, and that's how it was advertised, like on TV. But there's really nothing Halloween about it other than there's a monster movie at the beginning. Other than
That's
that,
true.
it's just a horror play on the horror trope. Yeah,
it's got some spooky atmosphere for sure. Like the whole motel aesthetic, the rain, the thunder. But I do think that the theme feels very much appropriate for Halloween because it is tackling the topic of fear thematically. So
and it does. I think the part of the movie that it really bumps up that a lot too is so it's when they get inside, they're in Bonnie's suitcase, and then I believe they go to their room. Bonnie and her mom are sleeping, and then that's when Mr. Potato Head gets disappears, and then the gang falls down like a chute or like
they jump down a vent. This is the threshold, as Mr. Pricklepants calls it. The point of no return.
Yes, exactly. And so they end up in this like shaft, and that I will say, this is very creepy. Like the monster, we don't know what it is. Some figure. The way that it moves in the foreground, and it's just all you see is the green glow of Buzz, and it's pretty scary. They did a really good job of that.
You know, I always forget that Buzz glows in the dark until it's a scene that's it takes place in the dark.
Oh yeah,
he's a toy. But that scene is so great. One of my favorite lines that I wrote down from there is when Mr. Pricklepants is describing the cliche or the trope of how characters are getting picked off one by one. And he's describing it as it's happening, so he's one of the people to disappear. And Rex asks, then what? But he's gone, and he's freaking out, and he's he was the only one who knew what was going on.
And then he gets pulled off screen super fast.
It's he's not Rex isn't concerned that people are disappearing necessarily. He's concerned specifically that Pricklepants isn't there to interpret what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. He just wants
I do think Rex's scream, Wallace Shawn's scream, is the scariest part of the whole short.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And it echoes away. That's there's nothing really there's suspense. There's a lot of suspense in it, but nothing particularly scary, nightmare fuel scary, except maybe his scream. Just maybe that.
Yeah, you're right. There's definitely no nightmare fuel. Thank goodness. If you're listening to this and you have kids and you're I don't know if I should show this to my kids, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it is just atmospherically. I remember the first time watching this, I was I am impressed that it made me feel fear at certain points. But yeah, the next portion of the movie is kind of when Mr. Potato Head's arm, I think, finds Jessie. Is that what happens? And then leads her into the bathroom.
They're really scared because they hear something and they think it's the monster, and then there's this really scary sequence. And then all of a sudden it's just a hand, and he's pointing up, and there's this gag where they're oh, it's charades, one word, and
Buzz and Woody are trying to guess what the hand is trying to tell them.
Yeah.
Jesse's the one that's guys, he's pointing up, just go up this vent. And I think that scene, and then the one immediately after it, which is very, very short. It's where they use Potato Head's arm as like a grappling hook thing to slide down the like the shower curtain, like the clothesline thingy. Like that whole little bit where Buzz and Woody are trying to do the charades thing, and then they're making this plan with the arm and throwing it. Like that's probably my favorite part of the whole thing, because we don't really get a lot of Buzz and Woody working together as a team throughout any of the movies. They're usually separated pretty early, or for a significant part of the movie. And if they are together, it's a big group. So there you get just the three of them, including Jessie. And like I would just watch the three of them explore a motel for an hour, but that's not what we had.
That should be a thing. Like somebody should make an in-betweenquel that takes place amidst Toy Story of Terror, and it's just like Buzz and Woody and Jessie like exploring the motel.
Yeah, I like how they like both of those guys are leaders, and yet Jessie's the one that like knows what to do in this short. It's her short, it's her movie, so like she's the one making the smart decisions. And but Buzz in the scene before is there to comfort her, and he's leading well too. Like he's taking charge and like telling them, "Come on, guys, you don't need to be afraid. Like we're gonna go we're gonna go find Potato Head." Like he's in charge, but he also isn't forcing his decision on anybody. Like he's listening to the group and doing what the best thing is when Jessie comes up with the idea to go up, type of thing. So it's subtle, but I think I really like in this short how they kept each character, the character traits came through really well, even in just a couple of minutes. So I love that bit that we get to see Buzz and Woody a little bit acting together, because that doesn't happen much except for maybe Toy Story 1 in Sid's room, like him just Woody grabbing Buzz's laser and shooting it at the darkness. Like that's just my favorite stuff. Same in Toy Story That Time Forgot too. There's a little bitty scene where Buzz and Woody are fighting off the other bad guy toys. And like that's just my favorite. They don't get enough time together in any of the movies. They're separated, and that's the movie. So I remember thinking during the bathroom scene when they're helping each other out, I was like, this feels like classic Toy Story. Like it really feels, like it's back to the first one. Like that's where they spend the most time together, is the first movie. They spend the whole movie together. But 2 and 3, 4, they don't get to see each other anymore.
I know, it's sad.
That I'm very impressed with that observation, because I didn't even really think about the fact that we haven't seen them have that Toy Story 1 dynamic, or like that Toy Story 1 partnership in a long time. So
and like it's great that Jessie's there. She's one of the best characters, and I would just love to see more of the three of them together. So for all you Pixar employees that are listening right now who are working on 5, just to put that out there, I'd like to see the three of them together without like a huge crowd. Anyway, I just throwing it out there. Directed by Angus MacLane.
Yes.
So I don't know if we want to get behind the scenes after we go through the plot.
No, you can bring it up anytime, because I didn't put it in my notes, but I did want to give props to Angus MacLane, because I personally was excited when it was announced he was doing Lightyear, specifically because he did this and Bernie, and these are two of like my favorite Pixar short stories. So I like
the thing with shorts, and I guess even this TV special, is they do. Pixar will give it to the up and coming directors, but at that point he had already done Brave, so like finished Brave. Like they switched directors part way through, so he's had that credit already, and now I guess there's a lot riding on a Toy Story thing for it to continue to be good. I can only guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I forgot he was he did that with Brave, and that was a year before this. So this is probably like what he worked on like right after finishing Brave.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good thought. Yeah.
So we're back to the bathroom, and
Yes.
But we just finished talking about Buzz and Woody and how much we love them being together, but then they get taken away.
Yes. Yeah.
so
They get snatched by some invisible menace, and we don't know what took them yet, but it's okay. Combat Carl is there to save Jessie.
yes,
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jonason. Would this be Carl Weathers' first appearance as Combat Carl? Because this is not the first appearance of Combat Carl. This is just the first appearance.
First Carl Weathers Combat Carl.
Yeah.
The Combat Carl was a joke in Toy Story 1 that Sid is going to blow him up, and he's got a firecracker strapped to him.
that's right.
It doesn't look like the same character. Combat Carl in the first one is a white guy that looks like a G.I. Joe.
And there's a reason he looks like a G.I. Joe.
Because they were the joke is that, I mean, it was going to be a G.I. Joe, but G.I. Joe didn't want to, I don't know, Mr. Joe.
They wouldn't sign off.
Yeah, they wouldn't sign off on getting their
Is it Mattel
beloved
who
character.
owns? I think it's
owns G.I.
Mattel.
Joe? Maybe.
Whoever that is, yeah.
They didn't like that he got destroyed in the first movie, so they didn't give him permission to use the name, so they made up their own version, Combat Carl, which is funnier, so it's fine. It all worked out in the end. And so just to bring that, I like that, he's a new character, but they're bringing back a joke way back from the first movie. Like, that's what I liked about it. It's like, oh, I'm okay with this because he's not a returning character, but he kind of is, like... Does that make sense?
And,
that's what I like about it.
And who doesn't love Carl Weathers? Like,
I don't know
because
anyone. Yeah.
the fact that they got Carl Weathers to voice Combat Carl, I just feel like there's layers to, like, somebody got really excited at Pixar at one point when they realized, wait a second,
what if we
could
cast
bring
Carl?
Combat Carl from Toy Story 1 and have Carl Weathers play him? Like,
Fantastic.
that
So good.
probably blew some people's minds when they came up with that idea.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they had a big celebration when he said yes to do it.
Yeah.
More Pizza Planet blasting your way after the break.
Like, dude, have you ever hung 10 on the EAC before?
Like no, man. What's the EAC?
Oh, intro. That's the East Australian Current, dude.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, dude. Well, hey, like, now's your chance. It's like a vortex tube of awesomeness. You can do sick flips, shell grabs, and 360s. Plus, the views of the sea are totally righteous.
Righteous.
Sign up now to register for Crush's next tour and come ride the EAC. Side effects from the tour include possible headaches, nausea, and vomiting. If you sense that you might be hurling, please note, no hurling on Crush's shell. He recently waxed it.
Bold, dramatic, heroic. What separates our primal existence from the defenders that walk among us? If not our humanity, then surely enlightenment. Designed for gods, harnessed by mere mortals. Chic and powerful. Edna Mode's Summer Collection. Luck favors the prepared.
And the full line is machine washable, darling. That's a new feature.
Hold on tight. We are re-entering the Pizza Planet quadrant.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's talk about his character now that when Jessie meets him, because in my opinion, like, as much as Pricklepants is amazing, he's great. The perfect narrator. But I feel like Combat Carl steals the show. I think he's my favorite character. So, what did you guys think about him and this introduction with Jessie? I think it was underneath the sink, I think, when they meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really cool right off the bat and funny, but not trying to be funny. He's not like a goofy soldier. He's serious about it, but the way he says stuff is funny. I think they just did a really great job with that character. I was happy with it. Whereas introducing a new character into like Toy Story world, I'm already just like, come on, like you have a good opportunity to mess something up. So they hit it out of the park with him.
Yeah. And talking about like reusing characters rather than inventing new ones, that does end up becoming a character that they call back to in Toy Story 4, but we won't get into that. But it is cool. This is now kind of like this very, very prominent piece of Toy Story lore now. Where he's most prominent is, I think, in this movie. But yeah, I loved his performance, like Carl Weathers' performance, because it is so sincere. Like, he knows how to balance like sincerity with like, okay, we're doing a like children's film that is supposed to be like comedic, you know, and this is supposed to be a fun character, so he brings the fun but also like the necessary charisma to like actually let people know like, oh, okay, this guy isn't just saying lines, he's actually giving you like important information to Jessie. Like, this is all going to be very important for her as her story unfolds. So
yeah, it's I wanted to have something smart to bring to this podcast. So when I watched it with the commentary so that maybe I'd learn some stuff. And I did. I thought I didn't really realize what that character's purpose was, other than, I mean, Jessie, you know, I didn't think about how important he actually was. Not for anything he does, but for what he brings out of Jessie is that confidence and to overcome her own fear on her own kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because she's not fighting necessarily the monster, although she kind of is at this point. But to overcome her other fears, she has to take the silliness that Combat Carl said. But it's not believe in yourself isn't the message, but it's just that you can do it. Like, you can be brave when you need to be, kind of thing. So I thought it was well done with that character, like you're saying, being funny and interesting, but also sincere.
Yeah.
He did.
So Combat Carl makes a big impression when he first shows up, but I believe Jessie ends up alone again in the shower, and they do a little tribute to Psycho before the reveal that the toy snatcher is in fact an iguana.
Yeah, you're saying it exactly right. I think people listening probably have seen it, so they're like, how did that even work? Because as you explain it, like, wait, how'd she get separated again? Like, oh, it's that around the corner they drug him off. I was like, you're right.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Carl.
They did the
Carl.
horror film cliche where he's like getting pulled around the corner of the door frame, and he's like holding onto the door frame.
Yeah, like a Jurassic Park thing.
Yeah,
you still don't see the monster, but like what you don't see is scarier than what you do, because you can imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, grab my hand, and then like he has no hand, so she
Yeah.
falls behind. Yeah. So
Yeah, but I remember thinking like in this the first time watching it, I genuinely was like, I have no clue what I'm about to see. Like once I see like the claw marks in like the shower curtain or whatever, I'm like, okay, this is a lot. And then it's an iguana, and I'm like, not what I expected.
Yeah. Probably would have guessed a cat, but
yeah, not an iguana. No.
Also an iguana that acts like a dog.
yes.
With
a
this
collar and
is
everything.
a very what is the word? Like,
I mean, he's lively.
he's surreal. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of
dog-like.
Pixar can kind of toe the line of like, you know, this is a realistic portrayal of a dog, like Scud in Toy Story 1, or this is a very unrealistic portrayal of how an iguana would behave. So it's kind of like towing that line of like, oh, this is a cartoon, but that immediately makes the monster very disarming and unfrightening suddenly, because you're just like, oh, it's just an iguana that pants.
I think it's the shot where he's carrying Jessie and she's not afraid that would help make the audience not be afraid of it. Like, it could.
That's true.
Iguanas are kind of scary. Like, they could still be scary, but
Oh, that's true.
the
That's
way
true.
that she reacts, like, come on, put me down, you varmint. I don't remember what she says,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like that
Yeah.
thing, that shot is what helps be like, okay, this monster isn't scary anymore. It's just an obstacle we got to go get around.
Yeah, and then like the next scene when it's unveiled, like that they're in this like office room, the way that he like playfully hits the bell and she tries to get out and he puts her back in the basket. Also like it's disalarming, but also this scene, as we get a chance to now, like the story unfolds now, and we're like, oh snap! There's this the manager Ron of the store is like basically using this iguana to steal toys from rooms or from kids and then sells it on the black market. It's really unique, and I feel like this is another great like Toy Story villain, if you will, because it lots of like similarities to like Al from Al's Toy Barn, but like just this idea of like a strange character who has some sort of fascination with toys, an adult figure.
Yeah, adults and interacting with toys so far hasn't been good in the Toy Story world.
I feel like that is really interesting that like Al was a villain in 1999, and then we now. Like, I don't want to say anything to upset our listeners, but culturally speaking, we live in a world of owls now. We're all owl now. But that wasn't the case back in 1999.
Yeah. I try my best to not be an owl.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I did shelve Buzz from live action Toy Story. He got broken a couple different ways, so he got shelved. But Woody is still in my kids' room. Like, I want them to be allowed to play with the toys. That's what they're for. I try my best to not be an owl.
Okay.
Just sometimes it happens.
Okay, that's fair. Let me retract my statement. We're not all owls.
No,
there are a lot of owls.
With everybody else.
there are.
I'm trying so hard not to be an owl.
There are a lot of owls, but no, I would say the majority of people are just like former owls. Like we were in our 20s collecting toys that we thought were cool, and then we grew up a little bit and had kids, and now our kids get to play with the things that we played with,
or they don't, and it's just too valuable. You can't touch that. I know it's a toy, but that's mine.
Right
Don't be an owl. That'll be the lesson.
I think that's an important distinction. You guys talking about how Al's attitude was towards toys. I think he actually had reverence for the toys as collector's items.
Yes.
This guy is different because I don't think he's got reverence because of any obsession with the toy itself, which is kind of more relatable. This is just a guy who's scalping and reselling. Mm-hmm. This is your basic eBay shop. Like literally, the website he puts Jessie on is called eBid.
So there's one thing that thinking back about the plot before I rewatched it, was thinking, why would he train his iguana to steal toys? Why wouldn't he train him to steal something valuable like the jewelry or their other luggage or something a little more valuable? I thought that was a plot hole, but I watched it again. Well, obviously, I watched it again with this in mind, looking for that. And in the case where he traps the cast, there's a whole shelf of camera equipment. So it's like, okay, he's not stealing just toys.
Okay, yeah.
Although his serial killer board of all the Polaroid pictures, it's just toys. So I don't know. Maybe he's only sells things in groups. I don't know.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, no, my theory was going to be that, I mean, kind of in line with that, I think he is probably stealing whatever he can get his hands on that he thinks has value, but it just so happens that because kids are a lot less, good at keeping track at their belongings, what he ends up with are toys. Like, that's what his iguana, that's the low-hanging fruit that his iguana can get. So if he can get a toy that'll go on eBay or eBid for a pretty penny, then that's the stuff he's kind of hyper-focused on.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, he probably wouldn't even have to steal it. He could just wait till they leave and go pick up all the stuff people left behind. Is that allowed? I mean, if you ran a hotel or a motel, what do you do with all the stuff? You keep it lost and found for a week, and then when nobody comes back for it, do you sell it? Is that allowed? I feel like it is.
My guess is that they probably legally could do that, but it's obviously going to be frowned upon if that got out to the public. Wouldn't be good for their PR. But I'm sure it's up to the owner of the hotel.
I feel like that's perfectly legal, but
Yeah,
not,
they didn't
training your pet to steal them. No, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
they didn't really explore like the differences between like all the toys that were there that we'll get to meet here in a bit. They didn't really explore like were those kids actively there and he stole them away, or were they left behind? But
yeah. Before we move on from the hotel manager, I did want to shout out Stephen Tobolowsky, I think is how his name is pronounced. The voice actor, who I think is absolutely iconic. If you don't know him, you would probably recognize him as Ned from Groundhog Day, or he's in Memento.
Yeah.
He plays Sammy Jenkins in Memento. He's the teacher from Freaky Friday, and he's also the villain in Garfield. As well as many other roles, but those are the ones that I most notably know him for. So, but his voice is iconic, and that's why I bring it up, because like the first time I watched this, I was just instantly like, "Oh my gosh, I know that voice."
for Ron,
But what?
For Ron,
the hotel manager.
yeah, nice.
Yeah. So he's an iconic. For anyone who's seen Groundhog Day, his iconic line, Phil Connors. Me and my brother used to quote that to each other all the time, so his voice is always in my head.
there's a good podcast. Sorry to recommend a different podcast. When you're done, don't
you're good,
stop.
you're good.
Don't stop in the middle of this one and go to this other one. Wait till this one's done, and then you can go to. It's called "I Was There Too," and this guy interviews actors, not usually the main character. Actually, I don't think he's ever done that, but one of the a background actor from iconic movies, and this. Remember his name?
Stephen Tobolowsky.
Stephen is one of the guests in an episode where they talk about Groundhog Day and being on that set and all that. It's really interesting just to hear. I like listening to actors' stories and stuff like that. So, especially with movies that I enjoyed. So there's one you go listen to him.
Yeah,
Nice.
I might go listen to that.
But I didn't know that he was in this. So
Oh yeah.
I was one of those like I might have guessed if you gave me a long time, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, Ben, I think you were about to bring up, so we get to the cabinet. We're now, Jessie has officially been captured by the iguana. She's been put on eBid, listed, and she's put in a cabinet with all these other toys, including the ones that had previously disappeared, but also, all these new characters. And was there anyone notable that you noticed in this scene, Ben?
Let's see. Well, we had there was the Combat Carl Jr.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty great.
And it's Combat Carl Jr. who shows up in Toy Story 4? Because isn't Combat Carl like super small in the Toy Story 4?
Yeah, there's more than one. There's like
Okay.
all the different, like a snow Combat Carl and all that.
Oh, okay.
And they are tiny, so I don't.
Maybe they're
I
not junior.
don't
Maybe they're just
remember.
smaller figurines or
Yeah,
something. I don't
think
know.
you're right.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, the character that stood out to me in this scene was there's a Lego character, which I don't think there's been Lego in Toy Story before this.
Yeah. No, you're right. I was thinking about that watching this. Like, this is the first time a Lego gets a part in the movie. I think that there are maybe a couple minifigs in Toy Story 3 because there's like a billion toys and a couple shots with like at the daycare and stuff.
Interesting.
But this is the first time there's a Lego, and just how they used him to move into different shapes and things. I thought it was cool. I also think like they built stairs for like 2 steps, and then they got a little ladder, whereas like other characters just jump down no problem. So I don't know. It was cool. I feel like maybe not all of those characters in the case were needed necessarily, but they were like they all did something at least, which I could appreciate.
One more interesting
Yeah.
thing about the Lego I just realized is this would have come out mere months before the Lego movie, because the Lego movie came out in spring 2014.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
So I guess Lego was a hot thing in the animation world at the time.
It's always been a hot thing, man. There, like, if you go to the toy aisle, I'm surprised it took that long to get a Lego into Toy Story, because it's like there's 2 whole aisles of it in every store, whereas
Right.
the other
Yeah.
toys maybe get 1. So
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube right now and you can see where I'm pointing, if you can't tell, that's all Lego right there.
now you got to wait for me to get up for 1 second.
Okay.
Lego Showdown.
We should honestly do a episode where we just talk about our Pixar Lego sets.
Yeah.
Oh, and
This
other
one-
Lego sets too.
Yes, I got a Back to the Future Lego set. I don't have a lot of Legos. My son does. We just bought the Millennium Falcon. We saved up his money and bought that and he finished that.
That's awesome.
Which is the coolest Lego. It just there's no other better Lego. It's the Millennium Falcon.
That is awesome.
But this Back to the Future DeLorean is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The only one I have that's not his.
Yeah. Yeah. That all back there is about a fifth probably of the Legos that the like sets that I own, but yeah, I'm a collector. I'm an owl when it comes to Lego.
Yeah, you guys are
hopefully
both
people
owls.
Touch it.
Although hopefully not Al, because I want my son to be able to play with them once he's old enough. Can't play with them now.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
what Al would say.
Yeah, that's right.
When he's old enough.
It's what Will Ferrell would say.
That too.
I also wanted to bring up, there's a character that gets mentioned in some of the dialogue here. They're talking about the Fastener 4.
Yeah.
And one of the characters is Speed Lacer.
To teach
And
your
I-
kids how to lace your shoes. The
Yeah.
Pocketeer
Yeah.
has a big pocket in front for some reason.
Okay, Pocketeer. That was one of the other ones.
He's the
I
one
was
in
trying
the
to
case,
remember.
yeah.
I was trying to remember what the other 3 Fastener 4s were, because I thought that was a hilarious pun.
That is a bit of trivia, isn't it? Snaps
Yeah.
or something. There's like a snap one, because the idea is it's those toys that like teach you your fine motor skills.
Yeah.
Snap, Speed Lacer.
Was there a zipper one?
Yeah, a zipper one and Pocketeer, I think.
It seems like
The
it's
last
a boring concept for toys, but maybe there's maybe
Like for
kids
a
would like 'em.
toddler, for like a toddler who just needs something tactile in their hand,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He's kind
Yeah.
of big for that. I don't know. It does seem like a weird invention. But okay, I like their creativity.
Oh, clearly
yeah.
they were selling off the shelves, man, in the movies.
Yeah. Well,
Demand.
I mean, on eBid they sold all 3 of the others. I don't know. I feel like that would not be a very valuable toy, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's probably just like nostalgia.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh
like,
yeah, I used to have a Speed Lacer. Need to get one for my kid. It reminds me of the glowworms. Have you ever? No, your kids don't have a glowworm. I think my little sister had one, but it's like
okay.
it's just that weird. Like it's for babies or toddlers, and I don't know. There is a glowworm knockoff in Toy Story 2. It's the guy with the flashlight in the library. But anyway,
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
it's like a little baby doll that's a worm that glows.
Yeah, talking about stuff going on eBid, I think, am I right that I caught Woody was sold for $4,000?
I think it was 2,000, but
Yeah, I think it's
2000. Was it 2,000? Okay, I couldn't remember, or I can remember what I wrote down, but I barely caught what they said, so
yeah, a lot of
I
money.
wrote down the wrong number.
Did you see the shipping label?
I did not.
Oh, Al bought him, of course.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's going to Al.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That's crazy. I did not.
Completely makes sense. He has like a Google alert anytime somebody posts this on eBid that he
Wow.
would get a notification and buy him right away.
That's awesome.
That's
I mean, that's not awesome, like for Woody,
No,
but
but
like,
it's awesome that they would think of
the-
that and
the
and
story.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
They're
world
pretty
building.
tight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the motel is in Tucson, Arizona, I think it said. And I think it says where Al is, but I think the state maybe is covered up. It's one of those, like, we're not going to get, or maybe it's just not on the label, but it's one of those, like, it's supposed to be anywhere USA kind of thing.
Wait, so this motel is in your neck of the woods?
A couple hours away from me, presumably, yeah.
Dang.
But it didn't, I mean, it's dark, I guess. You don't really get to see very much of the surrounding area. So, I don't know.
Wait, so then where is Bonnie from? Do we know?
We don't know. I mean,
geographically?
it's the same. I mean, she's in the same place as Andy. Like, she's right around the corner, right? So you see the
Yeah.
map from his house to hers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's supposed to be anywhere America, I think.
So if this motel, like, why would she be traveling with just her mom, if not being just a few hours away from home?
World building. Yeah,
Well,
no.
maybe theory, maybe Andy, because Bonnie and Andy are from the same place, is from where Jonason is from,
Oh,
and
sure.
that's why he filmed the live-action Toy Story
In my home.
there, because it's where
Right.
the movie takes place.
There you
That's, I think he got something there.
go. So we don't know where the Toy Story takes place.
No, they don't say where it is. I mean, it's on purpose. It's supposed to be just,
Yeah.
it takes place in a boy's bedroom. Like, it's supposed to
Yeah.
be that relatable. The reason
Yeah.
the reason I can tell you it's not Arizona is because we don't have that much green. There's
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of
green
green
grass.
trees, and like the houses look a little more Midwest, but
Yeah, it does.
Well,
feel
we can
very
you can
Midwest.
theorize whatever you want, man. That's a good idea.
But yeah, so moving on with the story, Woody's boxed up. He's getting sent away. I think Jessie also gets sold, and he takes her out of the cabinet. Ron takes her out of the cabinet, but then he puts her down because, is it Bonnie's mom who walks in? Or is it
Yeah.
someone else?
Yep, you're right. I think. I mean, it was only
Yeah, so-
yesterday that I saw this, but
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Bonnie's
Yeah.
mom walks in, interrupts him, so he has to put Jessie down. So now Jessie
she's free.
is free, but everyone else is in the cabinet, and Woody's in a box. So what's she gonna do?
Well, what happens? So I think this
I
is
think
when
Combat Carl gives her a pep talk.
Yeah, this is when Combat Carl gives the pep talk, and this is where things are coming full circle because Pixar, being the amazing writers they are, everything has a purpose. So from the very beginning, Jessie's fear of the box, we know this is going to play. This is going to be It's going to be central to the story, and then meeting Combat Carl and his message of confidence and never giving up. We know this is going to be a big thing, and so those kind of coalesce here at the end. Do you guys remember the speech or anything specifically from it?
Jessie never gives up. Jessie finds a way is the line that Carl tells her
Oh yeah,
at the end of the speech.
It's that one that kind of became a meme just a little bit. It's remember your training. But I don't have any training. Well, forget about that. Yeah.
yeah. It's really good because she's terrified. Obviously, it's the last place she wants to go, and we see her transformation of combat's like, yo, snap out of it, and she's still not listening, and then it just starts to break through when he repeats the mantra, and then she repeats the mantra saying Combat Carl never gives up, which is funny. And he's like, no, Jessie, and she's like, oh
yeah.
but it's kind
I
of
would
cool.
say you're not Combat Carl. Like, he gets mad. He gets mad that she would do that.
Yeah. You're not Combat. It's like earlier in the film when she's like, "Who's Combat Carl?" and he's like, doesn't even answer the question. It's like so good, but it's cool seeing her like going from fear to confidence is really cool to see that. But the fear's not over yet because when she gets ready to go into the box, I can't remember exactly when it happens, but I think it's the Transformer toy.
Yeah. I was gonna say, speaking of a transformation, she frees Transitron from a box, which is obviously in the same tradition of Combat Carl being a ripoff of G.I. Joe. This is a ripoff of Transformers, but But yeah, she frees him. She gets in the box. She initially is like, here, tape me in. And then she freaks out and is like, no, don't tape me in. Just put another box on top of me. But this is where I felt like this is a real classic Pixar writing moment where they're doing the really realistic thing for the character, right? She doesn't want to be taped into the box, but you always have to make it harder for the character. So you take the delivery person and they reorder the boxes or whatever and realize, oh, this is it taped, and then they tape her in. So it's like, it kind of like fakes you out. It's like, oh, okay, I see Jessie's being smart so that she can get out of the box later. But no, she's still taped in.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And just getting back to the earlier talking about like her fear and it being like this kind of borderline PTSD kind of thing. Oh my gosh, they did such a good job of you feeling that with her. So we get that in the toolbox. We get it again in the suitcase, and in the suitcase they do this like visual animation where everything is like creeping in on her.
Yeah, it's sort of like the vertigo effect.
Yeah.
But that like claustrophobia amount. Yeah. It's
Another Hitchcock reference.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. And so we get that again there with the suitcase, and then now we're getting it again with the box and the beans or whatever you call it, the packy peanuts.
Beans.
The beans. So yeah, we're getting it again, and it's just like she's and like I think she's like almost like hyperventilating, and it's really good. It's really, really well done. And like when she's like pushing up on the tape and it's not opening. Dude, like, oh my gosh, it's good.
Well, we just talked about this in our last episode, talking about Inside Out 2, where the way they portray kind of like a panic attack in that movie is very like, it feels real and surreal at the same time. And they do that in this movie very, I think, delicately portraying like this is, a scary thing for her, and more than just like, telling the audience, they're showing the audience.
Yeah. That was the thing I saw, some internet video, but it's basically saying that like, oh, like what is it with animated movies nowadays and panic attacks? Like and they showed Inside Out 2, they showed Puss in Boots 2, whatever, Last Wish.
Oh yeah.
And then a Paw Patrol movie. I guess he has a panic attack too, which I saw that before it was finished, like a early screening one time. So I guess they really refined that panic attack moment, but yeah.
I was gonna say I actually watched that with my nieces, and I think I remember that scene. So
okay, well,
yeah.
So that's just a thing in animation now, is portray a realistic panic attack somehow.
Although I will say the Paw Patrol one definitely did feel like more it was just taking cues from what they think a panic attack should look like on a dog, but it wasn't as like felt as something like an Inside Out 2 or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I think, I don't know, that's just my opinion.
I can't really say, but
yeah.
But yeah, I'd throw this one in there too. Watching it this time,
yeah, and so this is where obviously the climax of the short film is kind of amping up. But I just want to point out, the first time I watched this, I remember this is where it started actually to make me feel anxiety, because not just because I'm seeing Jessie in distress, but I genuinely did not understand how the writers were going to get us out of this situation. Because I think at this point, like, they're about to like load her on the truck, and you can hear Bonnie's mom tell Bonnie like, "Hey, grab your stuff. We're leaving in 2 minutes." Oof. And that's like, oh, so we have like 2 minutes for Jessie to free herself from the box, free Woody from his box, both of them escape the truck, them get back into the motel, get them back to the cabinet, free the rest of the toys from the cabinet, get back to the room, get back in Bonnie's bag, like all this stuff that I'm like, this isn't adding up. we're not gonna see a happy ending here. But yeah, that I think is it's not particularly clever that they threw in that line, but it definitely made my heart rate go up a little bit when I first watched this. So
Yeah, it's like any good Toy Story, I guess, probably. And Jonason, you would know this the most too. Is like, I feel like you have to have a part where it looks hopeless for the toys.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a filmmaking thing. It's the all is lost, but in a 22-minute thing, like you kind of need multiple of those. And something they brought up in the commentary on the Blu-ray, if you want to watch it again for 20 minutes, they have multiple commercial breaks, and so they leave on cliffhangers each time. And so that is the last one. It's like the biggest cliffhanger is she's stuck and they're leaving commercial just to get back to the movie. Yeah. So that you will not leave for, 3 minutes while commercials play.
3 minutes of commercials, 2 minutes till they leave. So by the time the commercials are over, they're gone.
Heartbreaking.
Right.
Yeah. So Jessie finds a paperclip. Well, first she calms herself down, and she's able to kind of focus, and she finds a paperclip. She frees herself. I believe she uses it to free Woody too. Is that right?
Yeah, we don't watch it. It's off camera. Or it's
Okay,
off,
that's
off
why I
screen.
don't.
But there's
that's why I
that
don't
heroic
remember.
putting her hat on and holding the paperclip in her mouth. It's really cool. Music by Michael Giacchino. All of it at once is just super cool. That hey, she did it, and we know it's gonna be okay. And she's like the hero shot.
Did you said Michael Giacchino? Did he score this?
Yes, sir.
Did he do an original score, or is this like recyclled stuff?
Yeah, it's original. So Combat Carl's
Okay.
theme, and it's on Spotify. So when you're done with that, and you're done with the other podcasts we talked about, then you can listen to the soundtrack for this.
See, I didn't even know that this soundtrack was on Spotify. Oh my goodness.
So he's my favorite composer, I'd say. I love his music, but in this one, it's the first not, as far as I know, it's the first not Randy Newman Toy Story. So like, I think it helps this story be more suspenseful, because I mean, I know there's suspense in the other movies, but the music, Randy Newman's is a little more oompa oompa bumpity. I don't know how to describe it necessarily. I'm not a music person, but the Michael Giacchino stuff, he's got both ends of this short covered, where it's that heroic, like the Combat Carl theme. It's like more Incredibles. It's more like soldier sound, and then it's got that actually kind of scary side of the soundtrack too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's very good at it being a chameleon, in that he can play like lots of different genres and kind of blend in with what he needs to fulfill. But that really explains why he did Lightyear. So working with Angus MacLane on a Toy Story project, working with Angus MacLane on a Toy Story spinoff.
Yeah.
So,
and then, well, the other thing about his music that I like, which isn't really in this short too much, is how well he takes the previous, so like Jurassic Park and Star Wars and all of the sequels that he's done, Spider-Man, sort of. He uses the old scores and blends them in with the new stuff really well. So like Jurassic Park or Jurassic World that he scored has the John Williams themes, and then they really well like transition into the new themes. He doesn't throw away the old stuff. And in this one, I can't recall if there's very much like Toy Story Randy Newman themes, which there could have been.
I was gonna say he did the same thing with Mission Impossible. By the way,
yes. The Lightyear 2, I felt like was a little bit of a missed opportunity to put some of Buzz's themes from Toy Story like there's the Sailing No More, and there's the theme that plays during the video game in Toy Story 2. It's that epic Buzz background.
Yeah.
They didn't bring it into Lightyear. He made it all original, which I think was probably was the direction of it, saying like this is not the same Buzz, so don't use those same themes. Maybe, I don't know, but I would have loved that, to have a Michael Giacchino version of the Randy Newman Buzz themes. So, but we get a little bit of Toy Story Michael Giacchino in this.
That's awesome. I didn't even think about it. I guess I watch something Toy Story and just assume that the music is Randy Newman, or at the very least like recycled Randy Newman score. But that's I'm now realizing that's a poor thought to have about Pixar, that they would reuse scores from other movies.
Yeah. I think this just goes to show like this is exactly how you do a TV special. Like thinking about like the Disney, like the old school really bad Disney like TV specials, or just like a lot of the other movies, like that, even just animated Disney movies that would like they make this amazing movie and they do the direct sequel to DVD and it's like terrible. Like this is crazy. Like this is crazy the level that Pixar is going. Like they're treating this exactly like a theatrical release. Everything from the writing to scoring, and then we haven't even talked about animation.
No,
but
the lighting of it, man, the lighting's really impressive in this one.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I mean, it's really well animated, but.
More alien slime coming right up.
Are you tired of the same old bland breakfast cereal? Well, look no further than Incredible O's, the official breakfast cereal of Mr. Incredible and Pals. This delicious morning treat is not only the best tasting cereal, but it's packed with vitamins that will help you grow strong like Mr. Incredible himself. Incredible O's, now including frozen ice blast shaped marshmallows. Get a Mr. Skipper-Doo toy in every box. Look for it in the cereal aisle. And watch Mr. Incredible and Pals on Saturday mornings at 8. What was that? Getting pulled from the air? Superheroes illegal? Product recall? This will put us in the hole, no question. What are we going to do with all these refined grains coated in synthetic sweetener? Oh, no!
Here, there's transformation. Monsters come gentle and leave ferocious. We're the creeps, the ogres, the krakens, the Martians, the Yetis, who want to scare for a living. We come of all shapes, sizes, colors, and textures. We're a family, bound by a common bond, tradition, diversity, friendship, and excellence. Whether your talent is causing screams or designing the canisters that capture them, Monsters University is a place to find your truest calling and reach your highest potential. In the words of Dean Hardscrabble, scariness is the true measure of a monster. Open the door to your future and become the monster you are meant to be at Monsters University. Building tomorrow's scares today.
Here's your refill. Enjoy the rest of the show.
One of my other favorite lines in this movie that I'll share with you guys happens towards the end of the movie when Jessie is, I think it's right before it reveals that she is freed everyone. Mr. Potato Head says, I think to Mr. Pricklepants, like, life ain't a movie, they're never coming back, and then suddenly they show up again. And so just more of that like meta it felt very Community. If you've watched any Community, it just feels like that kind of humor where it's like we know that we're playing off of cliches, but it's funny, I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jessie fights the iguana and rips down the curtain that is hiding the back room from the lobby. Mm-hmm. So that's how Bonnie is able to see everyone and points out, hey, those are my toys, exposing the hotel manager. And it was a really gratifying way of ending it because, like, rarely do we get to see toys be directly responsible for, like, the repercussions of, like, one human interaction to it. Like the fact that Bonnie's mom basically catches this guy red-handed, and it's because Jessie, like, directly interacted with, you know, her surroundings pulling down the curtain. I don't know. For some reason, that just feels like extra satisfying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that if they really do that much in the other movies. I feel like they're kind of really emphasize we can't be seen alive.
Yeah.
They don't really explain why ever, although I get why, because they show the consequence of that in the first movie.
Right.
But yeah, I think you don't need to ask why. So.
Yeah, and this is, I guess, it happened so fast. I didn't even think about it till now. But, like, what does Bonnie's mom think happened when the curtain got ripped down? Because if you think about it, that is a very close call for Jessie to be, like, pulling on the curtain, it rips, and right on the other side are, like, 3 people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think she trusts that Bonnie is gonna see them, you know, and know that they're her toys. And that's what happens. Is Bonnie's the one to say, "Hey, my toys," and then her mom's like, "Wait, what?" And then they explore. So I think there's. Like,
but what does Bonnie and her mom and Ron think happened? Like, why did the curtain get
I
ripped?
see. That's a good question. Yeah.
That Mr. Jones, the iguana, just grabbed it and ripped it down.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
Mr.
that's
Jones.
true.
He was standing right there.
Mr.
That's
Jones
true.
is getting
That's
into
true.
trouble.
Yeah, he was in the tussle with Jessie.
Yeah,
that's true.
It is again, just from the writing standpoint, like the curtain coming down, if you will, of like between, like it's a cool.
And those sound
biblical.
effects of
You
the
can say it then,
little
it's
chains
biblical.
breaking. As it pulls the curtain down, it kind of makes that like like all the little chains make a funny little noise. Like,
chains breaking, curtain ripping. This is very biblical.
That's right. The veil is torn. No, it really is good though, because it's like what he's doing is like especially from the toys perspective, is like so like dirty and evil, and actually even from the human perspective, it is also evil. So it's just like revealing it is satisfying. And also I wanted to mention, I just had this click in my brain that Jessie deciding to do that, because at one point she goes towards the curtain and the toys are like, "What are you doing? That's not in the plan." And I remember thinking, like, what is she doing? Like, why doesn't she follow the plan? But now I realize that, like, she's, by doing that, you know, and you know, that was her whole idea and it paid off. But it's like her as a character charting her own course. Like, she's being a leader now, which is kind of what Combat Carl was like all about, is like, you know, chart your own. So anyways, yeah, that's just another cool thing that Jessie, for her character to do.
Yeah.
But so what happens next after this?
Basically everything resolves, I think.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, the only other thing I was gonna point out is another great Pricklepants line is when he goes like, group laughter, a sign that the worst is behind us, or something like that. Just like, even after the story is over, he's still making these meta jokes about, you know, like,
he says like they should be rolling the credits about now. Like,
oh yeah. He mentions like, they should be rolling the credits.
Yeah, and then it gets even more, because then after that they're back in the car, and then I think they can't find Mr. Potato Head, and then Pricklepants is like, the monster strikes again, like one last you know strike,
just hitting all the beats. Even if it didn't actually make a difference to our story, it's like, but that would happen in a horror, so we're going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it pans over and it's like, he's right there. But yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the whole movie. And I will say, like, overall, I think this might be my favorite Toy Story non-feature film. Like, I don't want to call it a short, because technically it's a special. We've got Toy Story that time forgot, and then we've got the shorts. Trying to remember all of them: Hawaiian Vacation, the Partysaurus Rex,
Small Fry.
Small Fry. Small Fry is up there for me, honestly, but this is, I think, my favorite one just because of how it feels like a real movie. Like, we get real character conflict with Jessie. It feels very earned. It feels like there's actual development, and it's compelling as all get out because the fact that it's trying to play off of scary stories, it gives you just enough to be scared, but not enough to be like, oh, this is actually scary. Like, there's moments where I have anxiety watching this for the first time, but not, it obviously is fine for kids.
Totally.
Yeah. How about you, Jonathan? How's this rank for you?
Oh, if we're grouping it in with the shorts, I'd say this is probably my favorite. Just because it is, like you said, it's the most satisfying, a full story. I also really like, all of them. I don't love the Toy Story that time forgot because Trixie's not my favorite, and she's the main character in that one. So I think this one's probably my favorite because it does have that full story. Small Fry, I would have liked better if we go with Buzz to get back home kind of thing. That would have been an entire movie, but it's just a single cut, and the other one's like, oh, he made it back. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then Partysaurus Rex, we watched that one at Pixar. They played it for us there in their theater. It's really fun because, the bath toys, but it's a little more wacky cartoon. Like, the door busts open and a flood of water comes out. Like, that's it plays with cartoon physics a little bit more and all that kind of stuff. But it's still fun, and I don't know. I like them all.
Partysaurus Rex, I remember being the most style over substance of all of them.
It's very wacky. But I do love wacky sometimes. Like it's got the bubbles floating up of Potato Head saying he's a party pooper. It's just so funny. Like, there's a bunch of funny
fun
stuff.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, but it doesn't have the meat of a Toy Story of Terror character arc. Yeah. Ben, what about you?
Ben?
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, no, I echo everything. It really feels like a true Pixar film, which I think is something to think about. Is we know Pixar makes amazing films. We know they make amazing Pixar shorts. I feel like whenever you refer to a great animated film, you think Pixar. You think about a great animated short, you'll say, "Oh, it's like a Pixar short." It becomes a household term. They do those so well, and now we have something in between. We have a 20-something minute TV special film, and they've done it again. They've proved they can do even that format. So it's interesting. We'll see if they if they do more of this down the road.
So on that, I really do like the limitations that the TV format put on them and how they could excel in that. And like I said, was leading the cliffhangers on every commercial break and exactly 22 minutes. But now we have streaming where none of those rules apply, and you do whatever you want. The next episode could be an hour, and the next one after that could be 10 minutes, and it doesn't matter. And they are Pixar is coming out with a streaming show that's completely original. I'm excited to see how it goes. But that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Do a show. Is there commercials? No. Is there do you have to complete a narrative arc in one episode? No. You don't have to do any, there's no rules anymore. So I'm looking forward to seeing it's Win or Lose is the new one that's coming out pretty soon. And I don't know if it's rumor, but I'm pretty sure that's one and done as far as Disney Plus Pixar originals because it's not very cost effective. Streamers don't make a lot of money, and so they can't really continue too much.
They are doing another Pixar.
You're right. The
Dream
Inside Out
Productions.
thing,
Dream Productions is going to be the Inside Out spin-off show that I mentioned in our last episode. That's going to be taking place in Riley's
Yeah,
in Riley's
dreams.
mind, the place we saw in the first movie, where her dreams are made
Yeah.
as like movies or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm most interested to know how long each of those episodes are going to be.
That's
think-
true. That's true. It very well could just be something like Cars on the Road, where it's just like
I
little
bet you,
short.
I bet you it will be. I forgot about Cars on the Road. Was that
But-
that was Pixar? Yes.
That was Pixar. So this is what's disappointing is everything other than
Monsters.
Win or Lose. Yeah, everything
Monsters
that Pixar has done with Disney Plus, other than Win or Lose, has been like super short, like bite-sized, like basically stuff that I imagine was designed just to keep kids pacified because there's not a lot of substance to them. Stuff like Cars on the Road or Pixar Popcorn.
Oh, that thing. Yeah.
There's some like other things on there that are just like Bricktoons I watched recently, similar thing. But Monsters University has a lot of substance. It's 20-minute episodes. It's really good. There's 2 seasons, but it's not made by Pixar, which is infuriating.
Oh, Monsters at Work, you mean?
Or sorry, did I say Monsters
Yeah,
University?
I know what you meant, yeah.
Monsters at Work.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monsters at Work is it is good, I think. It's just not made by Pixar, so you see this like imperfections at the seams in it, but then it still is trying to be Pixar, so it at least feels, like it has substance. There's character arcs and stuff
cool.
like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we got into a whole review of Disney Plus.
Yeah, there we go. Disney Plus rabbit hole.
Before we finish talking about Toy Story of Terror, I will give it 9 out of 10 pizza slices.
Whoa! Hey, wait, hold on. Can we do some quick Easter eggs? Or do you want?
Oh,
or do,
yeah,
or do you
sorry,
want?
go
Do you
ahead.
want to do that after we rate it?
I already started
Yeah, just
rating
rate
it,
it.
so
Just go for
you
it.
get to rate it now. Then we'll talk about Easter eggs.
Okay. Wait. Sorry. What did you give it again?
You have
Give
to
it
guess.
9
I think you said. I think you said 9 pizza slices.
out
Yes, I
of
did.
10.
Out of 10.
Out of 10,
10
yeah.
is
There
a
are 10
full
pizza
points.
slices per pizza.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to ask you why not 10, but I'll let you.
Oh, why
go
not
ahead.
10? Why not
Yeah,
give
what-
it 10?
Yeah, where's the what's failed for you?
So
You wish it
here's the
was not
thing.
20 minutes. You wish it was an hour and 20 minutes.
most things that Pixar makes, I just like if I'm comparing it to everything else in the world, they're all 10. They're all 10. But I have to create some credibility within a podcast that's just about Pixar
Fair.
movies.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
I deduct stuff just based on oh, well, this isn't my favorite thing Pixar has ever made ever. Therefore, I will deduct a pizza slice.
I'm following your system.
That's kind of my logic, but really what it is kind of what you said. I think that I enjoyed it so much, I would almost want it to be longer. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It is objectively the best. I think we've all agreed it's objectively the best of the Toy Story films.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would give it. I will go on record and say I would give it 10. But I'm giving it 9 anyways. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, it's tough because normally we review features, which usually it's a little easier to rate because you have that so much time and so much to process. It's a really solid piece. There's not a whole lot to complain. There's maybe some things they could have pushed harder to make it a little bit more emotional. There was a moment, the Pixar feels moment for me, when Bonnie gets Jessie back and she hugs her. Actually did get me teary-eyed a little bit. And just the innocence of a child and thinking about my own son is but they did that really well. There may be some things they could have done to maybe really push the payoff in the end. It's just so well done overall. I don't know. I would say maybe 8.5 out of 10. Again, we're on a Pixar scale here, so it's if I'm comparing against the quality of a Pixar feature, then maybe I'd say 8.5. But it's really good. I don't have a lot of complaints. So
I just want to add one thing to what you said about the Pixar Feels moment. I do want to give this movie props because it is a 20-minute film or special, whatever you want to call it, that actually earns a Pixar feels moment. We didn't really talk about that. I did feel genuinely like moved, and that's not something that I typically feel when watching, an episode of a sitcom,
Sure. Yeah.
which is basically this is the length of an episode of a sitcom. So,
Yeah. All right, Jonathan, what about you, man?
I guess I'm right there with you. I don't have any complaints about this one. I forgot that Trixie was in this, so she's not my favorite. So
I had no clue that you. Well, I didn't know anyone didn't like Trixie, so
you
this
don't
is
know
kind of
anyone
fun.
doesn't like her.
This is
No.
kind of fun that we now know that there is
There's-
one thing that gets to Jonathan. It's
Trixie
when you put
hater?
Trixie
Oh,
in your Toy
there's-
Story short.
there's a few things, but they didn't do it in this one. So
Okay.
So yeah, no, I a solid 8.5. No, I'm gonna go right in between you and do 8 3/4.
Okay.
There you go.
Is it because of Kristen Shaw? I'm just wondering if it's
A little
her
bit.
voice.
It's that combined with, I mean, she's very talented, but that voice just gets to me.
Okay.
Combined with, I just don't find the jokes that come from that character funny. I just don't find it funny. It's that, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like, it's supposed to be cutesy, but it's cringy. I don't find it funny. Yeah, that's just me.
I think I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, Ben, you had some Easter eggs.
Yeah, I've got one. I feel like there's one or two other ones that I was like, ooh, maybe could be Easter egg, but the for sure one I have is the one of the delivery guys, one of the delivery people. It's the guy, and I'm pretty sure he's from Inside Out. I think he's Riley's like first date, or the boy that likes Riley.
Well,
Or like a
that
younger
would be-
version of him.
That would be unlikely considering that this came out 3 years before Inside Out. So I don't know that they would have started developing his look.
I would love to see someone, if the listeners out there do a side by side, or maybe we will. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
go
it's
for
a
it.
younger version of the guy from Inside Out. I'm like pretty confident. So it could be,
He's
Okay.
a small child.
yeah. It's
Well,
a design
date.
thing. I think it's like Pixar reusing
yeah.
assets. I think.
Are
is what
you
it is.
saying? Are you saying that the guy in Inside Out is a younger version of the pizza guy?
Sorry, I should have said that. Yes, it's the young.
Yeah,
it's
you
a-
were saying the opposite.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
No, yeah. So, so it's the guy.
It's an older version.
Yeah.
It is an older version of the guy from Inside Out.
Yeah, it's like when we see Sid and driving the trash truck or whatever, and it's like an older version of the younger Sid, and whatever Toy Story.
Is that
3.
even confirmed? I don't.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, let's go. But no, yeah, it's like an older version. So I don't know. I'll just check that. But that was one that a potential Easter egg that I caught. Did you guys catch anything else?
I feel like there was, but I didn't write it down, so I forgot.
So, I mean, we already talked about that Al bought Woody. The other one that I know of is the credit cards that you could pay with. It's stickers on the door, and one of them's B&L from Wall-E.
Oh,
good catch.
interesting.
There's like, I think there's a Pizza Planet truck, but it's like a sticker or something like you could order like on some fridge. It's some hard to see thing, but it's like there's a fridge where it's like magnets of like call for delivery and the truck is on it, I think. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Those are the ones that I recall.
Yeah, I feel silly now because I definitely remember seeing something and going like, "Oh, that's an awesome Easter egg." Didn't even think about making a note. Didn't even think about writing it down. So, yeah, I guess I'll have to rewatch it. And
the Bonnie's got a license plate frame, or her mom's car. It says
Yeah.
I break for Pizza Planet.
oh,
Nice.
I'm sure the license plate number means something too, because every time you got to make up a number, might as well use a real thing. But I don't know what it is.
yeah. There's probably lots of Easter eggs in there. I haven't seen the movie enough
you're
times to
talking
catch everything.
Pixar Easter eggs, references, self-referential Pixar things, not like all the references to the many different movies and horror movies. And
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
lots and
'cause-
lots of. If you
'cause,
count that,
yeah.
then it's the whole movie.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that is Toy Story of Terror.
Hey.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, yeah, spooky.
I wanna hear before we leave. I wanna hear Jonason's hot take.
I
on
don't have
Toy
one. I'm
Story
very sorry to
5.
disappoint you. I'm very sorry to disappoint you, but it's
Wait, okay.
not. So
Wait, you've seen it?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it. No, I just don't have strong feelings about it. I feel like go for it. That's what I said when I first heard the announcement. People asked me. I was like, go ahead, do 5 and 6. You can't go worse than 4, so just go for it. Just do whatever you want. I don't love 4. I feel like I could go on and on about the little bitty reasons. So
We need to have you back.
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben, so Ben was debating about asking you to be on when we talk about 4, and I was like, I don't know if he's gonna want to trash talk 4 with us or not. But yeah, there's some strong feelings in our camp about that movie as well.
Yeah, I feel strongly about that one.
Despite
so
my shirt,
we got a Forky shirt for those of you only listening to audio.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think 5, like, maybe my hope is that they'll do the Pirates of the Caribbean thing where 4 was very, very bad and 5 sort of retcons a couple things and is kind of decent.
Okay.
So that's my hope.
yeah. Well, and I will say I'm optimistic because Toy Story 5 is being given to Andrew Stanton, which to me seems like a good faith gesture on Pete Docter's part, where he's like, I think he kind of knows that there are people who aren't happy with where Toy Story 4 ended up, and he's kind of like, okay, I need people to believe in this project, so like Andrew Stanton's gonna be the guy. So I don't know. It made me a little bit optimistic. I didn't know if you felt the same way, but that's kind of my take. I will say when they did the whole announcement about the smartphones or whatever at D23, I was rolling my eyes. But if anyone can make that work,
I agree.
hope.
I'm also hopeful. I'm looking forward to what they come up with. The co-director, McKenna, I believe is her name, I think she's co-director. She did the Luca short, Ciao Alberto, or whatever it's called. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she was a friend of a friend. One of my closest friends worked with her at a camp, and so way back before she got Luca, he's like, "Hey, my friend's working at Pixar now. Like, you guys should connect." We never, other than Instagram, we never connected.
Okay.
But I'm excited for it. I mean, it's been she's really got the fast track there, because that was probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago that she started working there.
That's amazing. Yeah, she's climbing the ladder.
Yeah, like storyboard.
Well, it must be because she's talented.
Yeah.
And that could be another good sign for Toy Story 5.
I think so. I mean, from storyboard artist to co-director, pretty quick. That's a good sign. And I'm a fan.
Well, if you ever make a connection with her, feel free to tell her about our podcast.
Right.
Tell her about our podcast.
I'll be like, hey, I'm friends with a person that you worked with that was a friend for like a summer. But hey, maybe she's listening because she's a fan of the Pixar podcast, I'm sure. As are all of these people that we're referencing.
Maybe.
They have to
Thanks,
be,
guys. You've made some great art that we all clearly love. So for those at Pixar, thank you for your work and for your passion that you've put into these projects. So yes, we care. There's a lot riding on it. As far as like reviews and whatnot, I think another reason maybe they gave it to Andrew Stanton is because it's a sequel to things that are very popular, and it's important that they do a good job, so they can keep making sequels. Maybe it's one of the more higher profile releases coming out.
Yeah.
So
do you overall think it's more of a cash grab, like for Pixar?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, yeah, everything is.
Right.
I mean, any movie that's going to get made has to make the money back. So
right.
These are pretty expensive. I I want to believe that they have a really good story, and that's why they want to do it.
Oh, sure.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's why they did 4, because they didn't have an ending before they did. I mean, like, there were bits of, like, that could be good, go for it. And so this time I'm hoping that it's like, oh, that will be good, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hopeful too. We'll definitely have to have you back on to talk about 4 because, I think. Gareth actually recently sent me a link to an Instagram post that Tarantino put out about basically trashing 4 and saying, like, 1 through 3 is the only true,
Well, he did. To be fair, we don't want to misquote a famous filmmaker on our podcast. He has not watched Toy Story 4, so he wasn't trashing it.
That's true.
He just simply said he refused to watch it.
He refuses to watch
because
it,
1 through 3 is a perfect trilogy and doesn't need another movie in the series.
Yeah.
So he simply refuses to watch it.
Yeah,
I
that
wish I was as
fair.
strong-willed as him.
Yeah, no, I will tell people that, like, that's kind of what I say is like you don't need to see it, like, as a Toy Story fan, but I'd love to be wrong, and I'd love to, like, when we have you back on and we can talk about things we don't like about it, I would love to hear some redemptive things, because I'm sure there's
don't paint it like we're only going to trash it, but
I'm sure there's things that are good
I do
think
it's fair to say that there's a lot of strong emotions and surrounding that movie, and a lot of them are negative, but there are positives.
I might need to do that off mic because I need people that liked it to continue to root for me.
Oh yeah.
No, it's not a secret. That wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, and I think the way that we'd also talk about it too, and this is relevant as we wrap it up here, because I think that obviously a big issue that Gareth and I have with the film, I think I can speak for Gareth on this, is that the way that it opens up the question about, like, toys following their own pursuits versus being there for their human. And that's, I don't want to get into that can of worms, but I do think that is a big part of Toy Story that's central to it, is the idea that a toy is made for their human. And this is actually a direct quote from Toy Story 1 when Woody explains to the other, toys, like, this is your purpose, And so I do think that obviously 4 deals with that and in a way that I don't like. So that's not me just trashing it. It's just simply, it's more about that. And like I said,
it abandons the theme and reframes the toys from being allegories to being relatable, like, as individuals, in a way that isn't what the franchise started with.
Yeah, that's just the main gripe. And so, but
but we won't get into that in this episode.
No, we don't have time for that.
Yeah, we've already talked our audience's ears off about Toy Story of Terror, our feelings about Toy Story 5. We didn't even get into The Incredibles 3 or all the things coming to the Disney parks that they announced.
Yeah.
The cars coming to Disney World and Monsters Inc. That I'm actually excited about. I'm actually excited about both those things, the cars and the Monsters Inc.
You two are closer to Disney World, yes?
Yes, we are closer to World than Land.
It's still a hike, though. But yeah.
But I've been to both.
They're both hot.
Yeah.
In a different kind of way.
Yes, it's true. But yeah,
cool.
We should we should plan a trip to do a podcast from Disneyland sometime.
Oh yeah,
or Disney
that'd
World.
be cool. I would
Disney
listen
World.
to that.
Yeah.
Just while you're waiting in line for every ride, because you got nothing to do but talk anyways. Just in line, yeah.
There's some podcasts out there that's all it is. It's waiting in lines at Disney rides, talking about Disney themes.
That would actually be a really cool podcast. I'm not gonna lie.
Ben apparently listens to them. They're out there, and you listen to them.
No, I imagine it is, but
if that existed, I'm sure Ben would have told me about it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that'd be fun. You interview the person in front of you, just like.
Have you been on this ride before?
Yeah,
is this your first time at Disney?
What's your feeling about Disneyland? Are you the dad with the grumpy shirt that says "expensivest day ever" or whatever?
Yeah.
Or are you a Disney fanatic? Like, yeah, I'd want to meet people in line.
Yeah, seriously, that'd be cool.
Just keep putting it out there on this podcast that like whenever Monsters Inc. Land opens, maybe
Yeah.
they need some podcasters to go and make episodes while for the grand opening.
That'd be
We
sweet.
record a podcast from the ride.
Yeah.
We could be the first
Yeah. Go
podcast
for
in
it.
the world to record an episode from Disney's first suspended coaster.
That's just go for the Guinness. Just call Guinness right now.
Yeah, call
We
again.
need the record.
We'll throw some lav mics on. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well,
Cool.
we've taken enough of your
Yes,
time,
yes, we have.
Jonason. So, did you have anything you wanted to plug before we sign off?
Not particularly. Just this podcast, I guess. Go back and listen and enjoy. Yeah, you've seen my shorts and working on more, so just
Go subscribe
Go ahead
to
and check it out there.
JP and Beyond.
and Beyond.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. That's it for now.
Okay. And I don't think we have anything, Ben, right?
No,
I
no.
think we're-
Yeah, no, just
Okay.
just please go check out JP and Beyond. Jonason's putting out some really, really great stuff. We've loved watching your shorts, man. Especially one of the newer ones, the with the robot, the 343. What is it called?
Error 404. is
Error
it?
404.
Yeah, it's one of the newer ones. It's already a couple years old.
Wow,
It's
that's
one of
crazy.
those like I get don't have as much time as I used to, and but there's still things in the pipeline. So yep.
Yeah, I love that. I guess I wasn't new, but I really enjoyed that film.
yeah, it is one of the newer ones. You're right. So
yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, keep up the good work, and yeah, definitely go check him out. Check out the channel. And yeah, what would you guys say as we sign off here? Toy Story of Terror, Halloween tradition? Yes or no?
Yay. Yes.
I say no because you could watch this any time of year. It's not like we're going trick or treating, guys. It's none of that. So you can just watch
That's
it whenever
true.
you want.
That's true.
Whatever you want.
Whenever you
Okay.
want, multiple
Not bound.
times a year. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say you can watch it any time of year, but I think it complements the season well because of
Yeah.
how spooky it is.
No.
Spooky it is.
No, the one that you have to watch is the Charlie Brown Halloween Great
Oh.
Pumpkin. That one is you can't watch that a different time of year. You have to watch Great Pumpkin that time of year only.
Time of year.
But
True.
Toy Story Terror translates. You can watch that whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
like on a road trip. It's a real road trip movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Disney Plus or Blu-ray. That's what I had to do because I don't have Disney Plus. So multiple ways to check it out. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Yeah. Jonason,
Thanks,
dude,
guys.
thank you so much, man, for being back with us.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jonathan.
Appreciate it.
And thank you, listeners, for listening. And forget how we sign off, Ben.
I thought you were going for that earlier when you said, "Is this a tradition?" You're saying, "What do we all say?" I was like, it's the sign off, but I don't remember.
Keep it in O for onward.
Because adventure is out there. To infinity
To infinity.
Beyond.
and beyond. Nice.
Bye bye.
Cool.
All right.